And now we're going to take a look at the exact process of America's electing the president, a truly American tradition that no other nation can or would duplicate. It all begins with the presidential primaries. We have already learned in here that presidential primaries are elections that happen before the general election to try to figure out who the candidate for the general election is going to be. These are held each spring in presidential election years, and they are held at the state level, and they are put on by each political party. And the whole purpose of these presidential primaries is to determine who should be the candidate for each political party. Some presidential primaries are open, that is to say, any registered voter can vote in either primary. Some are closed, that is, only members who are registered as a Democrat or as a Republican can vote in that primary. Caucuses are held in a couple of different states, and this is not a bad word when we're talking about government class. A caucus is a series of meetings that happen. Instead of a presidential primary, these are a series of meetings that go on over the course of several days, and they determine as a political party by debate and organization who the candidate ought to be. So a caucus is different than a presidential primary, where a presidential primary is a one-time vote. A caucus is several meetings. We need to know that presidential primaries in this process is very divisive. It creates adversaries within a political party. So we have different people within the party competing against each other for the same opportunity to be the candidate. That means they are going to say some mean and nasty things about one another. But then after the primaries, they need to come back together and then support the people that they were talking trash about. It does make things very, very difficult for political parties to survive this process. But after all the primaries have settled, it's time for the National Convention. The National Convention happens every August of election year. The Democratic National Party has their National Convention. The Republican National Party has their National Convention. In the convention, there are three basic functions that must be performed. First, the candidates must be selected. That is to say, they must name who the candidate for president and who the candidate for vice president are going to be. Second, they must approve the party platform. That is to say, the set of ideas that the political party is going to stand upon, their goals and how they're going to reach those goals are all going to be part of the party platform. This is a general statement of the basic beliefs of each political party. And third, they must heal the wounds that are coming around out of the primaries. After all, it's now time for the losing people to stand up and pledge their support to the winning candidate. That, hey, I know I said mean and nasty things about you before, but I didn't really mean it. Now it's time for us all to get together and get behind our candidate so that we can win the election. And the atmosphere is almost always festive, party-type atmosphere, lots of energy. They wear the silly hats, they drop lots of balloons, and there's light shows and dancing and music. And the atmosphere is supposed to be uplifting because this is what's supposed to kick off the election season and the campaign that each candidate will carry out to try to win the office of the President of the United States.